Hello there, Guardians. It's your boy Kipper, signing on to Destiny. In this video, we're going to be talking about my favorite exotic, the Instant Swords. If you have seen plenty of clips that I posted on Twitter in the past, or on my Twitch streams, link in the description, you can obviously tell that I love these boots, a lot. This will be mostly about PvP for these boots, since P is not really used much in PvE. If you have forgotten about these boots, that's fine, because most of the time I've been seeing Titans used as Doom Archers, One-Eye Mask, Syntheseps, and Heart of Immo's Light. But we're not talking about these exotics. We're talking about Antea Swords, how they came out at first, and the current state of how they are now in Beyond Light. Antea Swords were first introduced back in September 2018, when Forsaken came out, which was Season 4. The exotic intrinsic perk Reflective Vents, Improved Slide. Sliding reflects incoming projectiles, reflecting projectiles grants super energy. Even though the exotic perk says projectiles, you had the ability to reflect almost everything, but the price to pay when reflecting bullets/projectiles was your health. Chip damage existed on these boots. However, there are cases where you remain unharmed when reflecting projectiles at a perfect frame. When you slide with these boots, you get a damage resistance going from 0%, which is no slide, 50%, which is early slide, and 100% at the latest slide. Most of the time, you'll get 50% of damage reduction, which is the biggest cause for misadventures, depending on the weapon they use on you. But when getting 100% damage reduction, it's actually more rare than finding a penny on the ground. I'll stop. I'll never do that again. I'm terrible at jokes. The only ones you weren't able to survive or reflect is Thunder Crash, Lord of Wolves, any trace rifles, and Devil's Ruin, which was presented in Season 9. You are able to activate the exotic perk every other slide, the little shield. Plus, you have a 360-degree protection for damage resistance, so you do have the same effect from the side and from behind as you slide, but it does not reflect anything back. The bug on the increased slide distance existed, and did the opposite instead, which shortened the slide distance on these boots. So a normal slide is like 5 to 6 meters without anything. Unfortunately, I don't have the footage of the measuring, but I do recall it the slide distance was half, so it was about like 2.5 to 3 meters for the slide distance. Now onto the super energy bonus. If you're curious how much super energy you get, it's about 14 seconds worth. Hashtag free14 if you remember that or don't remember that. Despite reflecting stuff and the slide bug, it was still useful since you were able to run around like a monkey with a shotgun on your hands and just take minimal damage against other players with a shotgun, and you'll have a better successful rate of winning the gunfight. Not to mention, fusion rifles back in Forsaken was a fantastic combination with Antea Swords due to the range that fusion rifles used to have. Plus, when you make a build with these boots to get your super faster, you were able to get your super within 2 minutes or under if you're consistent enough of getting kills in PvP, and it's actually insane. But unfortunately though, it hasn't been a top tier choice due to how One-Eye Mask was back in Forsaken. On March 5th, 2019, Season of the Drifter came around, which was Season 6. Antea Swords received the bug fix within 2.2.0, fixing issue where improved slide was not consistently applying with Antea Swords. This did improve the exotic as a whole, mostly due to increased slide. However, you had to deal with the chip damage for those boots, and it still wasn't the preferred exotic that most Titans wear. If you're curious how much of a slide distance bonus with these boots, it's about at least 2 meters. Since their normal slide was like around 5 to 6 meters, I've been getting up to 7 to 8 meters. here we go. I don't know where to start. All I can say, in Shadowkeep, it wasn't really used much until Season 10. Season of the Worthy. On March 10th of 2020. Trials of Osiris not only returned to us for endgame PvP, but Antaeus Wars received a buff within 2.8.0. The shield created during the slide no longer allows chip damage through. It was no surprise for me and my friends that had predicted about these boots becoming meta for the season. If you're curious why this is a big deal, since the removal of chip damage, you can literally reflect and tank everything within a half of a second and just be unharmed after you shotgun an enemy. This was a true definition of a monkey. Not literally though. All hell broke loose when the community complained about these boots and they wanted it disabled. And I'll be honest, I don't blame them in any way. As someone like myself that has mained these boots back from 2018, those boots were insanely strong, and most folks abuse it for the 0.5 second invincibility. Not to mention, you can run at somebody with a rocket, slide near them, and then just shoot out the ground, leaving you unharmed as well, but the enemy defeated. I should give you some notes that you still have the 360 protection, you still have 314 super energy, and misadventure can still happen, but it's a very rare occasion. So, what I'm saying about this change is that it's a flip of a coin of an effect for the 100% reduction versus the misadventure. The 100% reduction was much easier to land versus the misadventure. This was the reason why this exotic became #1 for most Titan players to go on, and a lot of people switched to Titan because of this exotic. That is until
Hello, monkeys!
one season later. Season of Arrivals came around. Update 2.9.0.1 happened on June 18th of 2020. I apologize for being a little personal, because I, as someone like myself that has loved these boots, I can't tell you this feeling that I've had right now since the change of these boots. So the change was removing the super energy bonus, and you have to sprint in order to activate the perk. The super energy removal bonus is not that big of a deal, but since you have to sprint in order to activate the perk, actually made players switch to Doom Marchers to this day, since now it is no longer the #1 exotic for Antaeus Wards. Plus, the intrinsic perk was changed to this following text. Improved slide. Sliding after sprint for a short time reflects incoming projectiles. I still want to mention that you still have this 360 degree protection and the 0.5 second invincibility. They're still usable in 6s, but it can be difficult against good players in 3v3, like Trials of Osiris, and also in Glory rank as well. But at least you're able to sprint at the wall and get the perk, right? Right? Now, do I think it was over-nerfed? Not really. I was upset about the nerf and also upset about the buff when it received in Season 10. But I'm sure a lot of you folks that have mained these boots know how I felt. But I do know that there are a lot of people that are celebrating with this change, and I don't blame them in any certain way. Well, now that you know what these boots were like from before, so how are they now in Beyond Light? Are these boots worth using again? The answer is yes, they are worth using in this current state. It's a solid pair with Behemoth Stasis Titan, but it does not stack with Chiroclasm, and I gotta tell you, it was really annoying to test and figure out the distance if it was stacking or not. But with Chiroclasm, that's with Antaeus Wars as well, like either one or without, I was getting around 9 to 10 meters for the slight distance, so it's about like 4 meter distance bonus with the Chiroclasm for the bonus. If you're wondering about Doom Archers, this is not what we're discussing. What's that? You want to know what you can actually reflect in this current state?
Yes!
You want to know all of them?
Yes.
But there are videos that are still relevant to this day made by these sexy content creators.
Just do it!
Okay. Now before we get to the main subject about what you can reflect, I just want to point out that you can still do the shenanigans stuff with the rocket launcher as you slide towards the enemy. Alright, let's start off with Stasis melee ability, shall we? The Penumbral Strike. Oh yeah, you can send that sucker right up back at them. The Withering Blade, aka the Shoryuken. You can send those back, but at the late slide, you can only send one. But however, at the early slide, you can send both of them back and freeze them, even when you're on a light subclass. Take that, hunters. The Shiver Strike. I know you can't reflect that, but you actually take no damage. Sadly though, it still slows you no matter what. I would advise not doing that. Please, for the love of the Traveler. Okay, let's move on to the Stasis Super, starting out with Winter's Wrath. You can send those back much easier when they're on ground. But if they're in the air, I would not advise challenging it, since those ice balls have splash damage. Sure, you can send one back at them, but they're going to kill you first. Don't do it. Silence and Squall. First throw, yes, you can send that back. The second throw, yes to that also. I know you hunters tend to not throw the second one at the enemy. I know you tend to throw it at the ground. The tornado can be yours, but fair warning, timing to steal it is very crucial. One mistake with no getaway? Bye bye, Titan. The Glacial Quake. The buff Shiver Strike can be blocked, but unfortunately can slow you down. As you look into the footage, first of all, do not challenge that super, like at all. The Slam is the biggest counter to Antaea's. I've been trying not to get frozen, but over 90% of the time, you'll most likely be frozen or be frozen and shatter at the same time. Sure, you'll take no damage, but you're more likely going to get killed because you will be frozen. However, I have some cases where I didn't get frozen. I don't know what the cause is of not being frozen, but once again, for the love of God, don't fight that super, even when you're wearing these boots. Alright, on to Stasis Nades. Dustfield Nades. When thrown at you, you'll be sucking them back. Fun fact, when you have Whisper of Hedrons, it does proc when freezing them with stolen stasis abilities. When thrown on the ground, however, early slide in the dust can save you. However, later slides into the dust nade will leave you a devastating result. Cold Snap. When thrown on the ground, you will be frozen, no matter what. There's nothing you can do about it. There's your counter, Guardians. But however, when throwing at you, you will freeze them instead and can also seek multiple teammates. Glacial Nade. Oh boy, where do I begin? First thing, when thrown at you, yes, those can be sent back. In this footage, however, what I was trying to test is how consistently to avoid being frozen or instant unfrozen. What do I mean by instant unfrozen? I've had some times where I was frozen and then unfrozen immediately. I've had this happen at least twice, which was during a trials match. All I can say, this is very situational. It is funny when you break it immediately when it was thrown at you and a hunter tries to shatter dive it. However, when doing this, most of the results I just get killed by, shatter damage. But I was able to get one pull off instant unfrozen, but the fissure damage was too much for this Titan. Howie. Okay, Stasis is done, and let's get into some weapons. Eyes of Tomorrow, yes, that can be sent back. Just a quick warning though, since those rockets have a delay time before they go zooming right at your face, timing can be pretty crucial for you to stay alive. Salvation's Grip. To an extent, yes, that can be sent back and freeze your friends. But in some cases, you'll either end up frozen if failing, or just die to shatter. Remember the instant unfrozen? That can be pulled up with that too, but I got frozen again due to the Warlock's aspect for Ice Flare bolts. I love you too, Paul. Wither Horde. When shot at the ground, I would not advise going through it since it won't fully save you. Big ouchies. However, when it's shot at you, you can send it back. And it's actually hilarious when you send it back and get a direct hit on the enemy. Oh, funny times. And lastly, I know it's not a weapon. We were going over this exotic, the Author's Embrace. I do apologize for butchering it. I know throwing knives can be sent back, but what we're trying to see if you keep the buff from those gloves, giving it to the Titan. The answer to that is no, since 212 is the normal damage for those weighted knives for headshots. And that is all I have for you guys. I know there could have been more stuff I could have shown, but like I said earlier, I have great friends that have made videos of these boots. I will link those in the description. Lastly, I want to thank all my friends who rooted for me because this was really fun making this video for you all. If you happen to enjoy this video, a positive rating is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful time. See you Guardians in patrol.